Hello, this is Rishayan, and today I'd like to talk about a couple topics that come up to me from time to time. People ask me, why do you live like this? And why don't you go to a homeless shelter? So, I'm going to talk on two particular topics. What's the difference between a hobo and a homeless? Okay, a homeless is someone who has no place to stay, but stays in the same place, in the same town, in the same city. That's where they live, and that's how they exist. They're considered homeless because they have no shelter in that city. A hobo is someone who moves from town to town, who doesn't stay in the same place, that migrates all over the land, all over the country, all over the world. That's a hobo. I'm a hobo. I don't stay in the same place. I'm just moving from town to town. I may spend up to a month or more in one place for a particular reason, but I'm not from that place, or I don't live in that place. I go from town to town. That's what a hobo is. I want to talk a little bit about homeless shelters, because I say, well, why don't you go to a homeless shelter? Basically, in the United States, there are two types of homeless shelters. One is an emergency shelter, and the other are the Christian shelters, which have popped up all over the country, which you can stay up months at a Christian shelter. The emergency shelters are only designed for an emergency, for people who are from that town generally, that for whatever disaster, whatever reason, whatever problem, they find themselves without shelter for a limited time, in a temporary state. And so the emergency shelters are just for a couple days, really. A couple days, a very limited time. That's what they're all about. That's no place for a hobo in an emergency shelter. And of course, all of these shelters, both the emergency shelter and the Christian shelters, are horrid places. These are places that I wouldn't send a dog. I mean, they're bunk beds, double bunked, so close to each other you can smell the other guy's fart. I mean, they're not humane, civilized places to stay. You can't even take a crap in these places without somebody seeing. They take the doors off the stalls. I mean, it's just you're under surveillance 24/7. And of course, the other people. Well, what quality of people are there? What I need to say more about that. The Christian shelters, which are long term, but they're not designed for hobos either. They're not designed for people who are free. They're not for free people or people that want to be free, because they don't want you to be free. The Christian shelters are designed to help you get out of the state that you're in, to return you to the normal life, to return you to where you were before. In other words, they look at you as having some problem. I mean, you're obviously having some problem, they feel. If you're free and living in the woods or living in the streets and have no shelter, you must be a drug addict, or you must be an alcoholic, or you must be an ex-con or a Looney Tunes. That's the way they look at you. They can't even begin to imagine that maybe you have to live like this because the fascist government doesn't give land out. There's no land reform in the United States. We have no right to land in the United States. There are countries where you do have the right to land. A citizen does have the right to their piece of land, but not the United States. You have no right in the United States to land. So you must work for the rich to be able to rent the land or buy the land if you want to live. And so if you choose to be free, if you choose to work for yourself instead of working for the rich, live in the woods, babe. Live on a bus stop. You live under a car, sleep in the streets, or do whatever, or go to the Christian shelters. But you see, the Christian shelters are for Christians, or people that they're going to try and convert you to Christian. Why do they put this shelter? Just because they got a big heart? No. They put this shelter because they want to convert you to their Christian beliefs, or what they think are their Christian beliefs. In other words, you have to actually sign a form. You have to go into a program, because if you don't, they kick you out. You have to accept their program of rehabilitating you. Oh yeah, rehabilitating you. I mean, like I said, they don't recognize that you're living like this because there's no, we're landless, because we have no land. The government does not allow us the use of the land, so they force us to live like dogs hidden in the woods. They don't recognize that. They think, no, if you're poor, you must work for the rich man. There's no other way. You must work for McDonald's. You must work for Walmart. We'll train you in a skill to be a cashier or to be a carpenter or something, you know? I mean, we'll put you back into the wage slave labor market, you know, because that's the only way there is in the United States. And if you choose to be a free person, that you're not going to accept that, you don't want to make some other asshole rich. You want to work for yourself. And incidentally, we work. Every day is work. You got to build your house and take down your house, and put up your house and take down your house. Hunt for food, whatever. Even if you're panhandling, it's work. You think it's easy to panhandle? You know, every day you got to get up and do something. Whether it's raining, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, doesn't matter. Whether the ants bitten you all night and you're scratching from the ants or the mosquito, doesn't matter. We have to work, but at least you're working for who? For number one, babe. You're working for yourself. That's what being a hobo is. We work for ourselves. There's not many hobos because you have to have balls, man. You gotta be a man. You gotta be tough. And of course, we don't live in a tough society in the United States. Not even when I was in Mexico. You know, it's all wimped out. People have wimped out. They're used to welfare. They want welfare. They want the government to take care of them. You know, they want the rich to take care of them. They'll do whatever. You know, but to live free, to struggle, to be a free, independent person, living on your own, very few people can do that. That's the difference between a hobo and a homeless. And that's why I don't go to homeless shelters, because I like my freedom and I have my right to be free. Even the poor, even the humble, even the scum of the earth, if that's what you want to think, have the right to be free. If the rich can be free, I damn well can be free. Thank you. This is Rich Cheyenne. That's all for today. I want to say I filmed this in the forest here in Houston, Texas, in front of these little flowers, which are some of the first flowers coming out since we've now gone into the spring here because of the abnormally warm. And they say, of course, that global warming doesn't exist, but the abnormally warm winter, these are spring flowers coming out, and these just come out a few days ago, and we'll be getting a good deal of rain. Isn't that nice, little flowers? Peace.